So good morning everyone. Now we discuss another growth curve, sigmoid growth curve or logistic growth curve. Logistic growth curve. Logistic means here literary meaning the growth rate is not same. It varies from time to time. Logistic growth curve. Here also same. We plot time on x-axis, population density on y-axis. Population density on y-axis. Logistic growth curve, also known as sigmoid growth curve. So logistic growth curve or sigmoid growth curve. The growth curve has 4 phases. Lag phase. Lag phase growth rate is slow. Acceleration phase, the growth rate is rapid. Deceleration phase, growth rate decreases. And asymptote, neither increase nor decreasing state. Sigmoid growth curve is a realistic growth curve applicable to all real populations. Time on x-axis, population density on y-axis. First we discuss one example. That example is yeast. So they kept one yeast cell in laboratory. After 2 hours, 1 become 2. Next 2 hours, 4. 1 become 2, 2 become 4. Next 2 hours, 9. Means population density or number of individual population density or population size of yeast cell slowly increases. For every first 2 hours, only 1. Next 2 hours, 4. Means 3. Next 3 hours, so 5. So in this manner, population density slowly increases. So up to 6 hours, 9. After 8 hours, 50. Means within 2 hours, 9 become 50 means 41 new yeast cells are formed. So that is growth rate is rapid. So here if you take, so the growth rate is rapid. 50 become 150, 100 added. 150 become 350, 200 added to the original population density. 350 become 610, here 200, 350, 450, 550, so 260 added. So this phase is known as acceleration phase. Growth rate is rapid, acceleration phase. First phase is lag phase. So first they adjust to the new environment. That's why growth rate is slow. The slow growth rate is known as lag phase. Once they adjust to the new environment, growth rate is rapid, known as acceleration phase. Growth rate is rapid till they maintain equilibrium with environmental resistance. Environmental resistance. Initially growth rate is slow. This phase is known as lag phase. Why growth rate is slow in lag phase? It is a new population adjust to the surrounding environment. That's why growth rate is slow. Once they adjust to the environment, growth rate is rapid. It is known as acceleration phase. The growth rate is rapid till they attain equilibrium with environmental resistance. What is environmental resistance? Sum total of all abiotic and biotic factors of that habitat is known as environmental resistance. Maybe available food, space. So in case of yeast, environmental resistance. Once they attain equilibrium with abiotic and biotic factors, growth rate is slow. Up to 14, 16. Next 2 hours only 20 added. Number not decreases, growth rate decreases. Next 2 hours 15 added. Next 2 hours only 3 added. So growth rate is decreases. That is known as deceleration phase. So finally neither increase nor decreasing state. What is carrying capacity? Maximum number of individuals bear by that habitat is known as carrying capacity. Carrying capacity of yeast in the laboratory 650. So after 20 hours, here 648. After 40 hours, 650. After 2000 hours also, the number of individuals fluctuating around the carrying capacity, maybe 651 or 650 or 649, 648. The number is fluctuating around the carrying capacity. So why it is known as logistic growth? The growth rate is varies from time to time. In lag phase, growth rate is slow. In acceleration phase, growth rate is rapid. In deceleration phase, growth rate is decreases. In asymptote, no growth rate. Number constant. For example, 40 hours 650. After 2000 hours, maybe 651, 649 or 650. So number fluctuate around the carrying capacity. What is carrying capacity? Maximum number of individuals bear by that habitat is known as carrying capacity. So formula is dn by dt is equal to k minus n by k. dn by dt is equal to Rn k minus n by k. What is k? Carrying capacity. K means carrying capacity. Here possible questions are: in which phase of the growth curve? In which phase of the growth curve birth rate more than death rate? In lag phase, acceleration phase, deceleration phase, birth rate is more. That's why number increases only. So even though growth rate decreases, after 14 hours 610, after 16 hours 630, number increases, not increases rapidly. So birth rate exceed death rate in first three phases. In which phase birth rate is equal to death rate? Asymptote or stability, neither increase nor decreasing state. In which phase of the logistic growth curve birth rate far exceed death rate? That is in acceleration phase. In acceleration phase, birth rate far exceed death rate. Or in competitive exams they may ask, which phase of the logistic growth curve is known as exponential, or identify the exponential part of logistic growth curve. Exponential means rapid growth. So acceleration phase, during acceleration phase the growth rate is rapid, so it is logistic. So acceleration phase of the logistic growth curve is exponential part. Exponential means rapid growth. Carrying capacity means maximum number of individual bear by that habitat. Or now we discuss another example, or once again I explain the same example. Later we discuss human beings also to understand what is environmental resistance. So yeast, here example is yeast. They kept one yeast cell, after 2 hours become 2, next 2 hours 4, next 2 hours 9. Means you may take like this also. Here what is the growth? Only 1. Here new individual, here 2, here 5, here 41, here 100, 200, 260, now 20, 15, 3. So growth rate, the number of new individuals added to the initial population density is slow. That's why it is known as lag phase. Observe, 5 become 41. So 41 become 100, 100 become 200, 200 become 260. That is the acceleration phase. Next one become 610 become 630, 20, 15, 3. That means growth rate is slow. It is known as a deceleration phase. and finally neither increase nor decreasing state. Finally neither increasing nor decreasing state. So they kept one yeast cell. One yeast cell becomes slowly, what happen, undergo budding, their number increases. Initially growth rate is slow, that is lag phase. Later growth rate is rapid, that is acceleration phase. Later, so the growth rate is rapid till they attain equilibrium with environmental resistance. Later growth rate decreases, that is deceleration phase. Finally neither increase nor decreasing state, that is known as stability or asymptote. So now we discuss sigmoid growth curve with the help of human example. Human example, hypothetical example. For example, in Davanagere, now the population is 3 lakhs. Now the population is 3 lakhs. Now it is in acceleration phase. Carrying capacity means maximum number of individuals bear by that habitat is known as carrying capacity. We assume Davanagere carrying capacity 40 lakhs. Now Davanagere human population in acceleration phase. So 3 lakhs. So what happens? The 3 lakhs rapidly increases till they attain equilibrium with environmental resistance. What is environmental resistance? Sum of abiotic and biotic factors together known as environmental resistance. What are abiotic factors? Available space to construct the houses, available water, groundwater, similarly jobs. So these are the environmental resistance. So now the human population is in Davanagere population is 3 lakhs. Now Davanagere human population is in acceleration phase. So in this phase the population increases rapidly till they attain equilibrium with environmental resistance. What is environmental resistance? Sum of abiotic and biotic factor. Abiotic means non-living, biotic means living factors. In case of human being, limiting factors, food, space, jobs. So these are the limiting factors. So that's why the available area sufficient to construct houses, and these houses accommodate 35 lakhs or 37 lakhs. So the human population rapidly reach 37 lakhs. Later, due to environmental resistance, no space to construct the houses. So at the time what happened? Instead, individual houses, they demolish the individual houses, construct the apartments. At the time population so growth rate decreases, that is deceleration phase. Growth rate decreases, and finally what is the carrying capacity? 40 lakhs, neither increasing nor decreasing. For example, Davanagere population in 2070 so may reach 37 lakhs. So in 2090 maybe 39 lakhs 39 lakhs 99,950. 39 lakhs 99,950 in 2090. In 3090 also the population is fluctuating. Davanagere population is fluctuating around 40 lakhs. Maybe 40 lakhs 10 or 39 lakhs 99,980 or 970, like that. So what is carrying capacity? Maximum number of individual bear by that habitat is known as carrying capacity. In case of other animals, what are biotic factor? Predators. Not only available food space, predators are more. so population density decreases. For human being, so no predator, so that's why, so if any predator also we may kill, so or we may keep that predator in captivity in zoological parks. So that's why in case of human population, environmental resistance means sum total of abiotic factors. Environmental resistance means some abiotic and biotic factor. For example, if you take rabbit, two rabbits enter into new forest locality, initially growth rate is slow. Why? They should adjust to the new environment. So they should aware what type of grasses available, what type of predators are there. So that's why even though they reproduce, but most of the time they concentrate to adjust the environment. That's why growth rate is slow, lag phase. Once they adjust to the environment, growth rate is rapid till they attain equilibrium. For example, that forest area accommodate only 50 rabbits. So now these two become up to 45 rabbits. So available space is sufficient for branched tunnel, underground branched tunnels only. Warren, rabbits live in warren. Warren means branched tunnel. So later what happened? Growth rate decreases. Finally what happened? Carrying capacity of rabbit 50. The population of rabbit fluctuate around 50. Maybe next year 51. After 10 years maybe 49 or 50 like that. So what is carrying capacity? Maximum number of individuals bear by that habitat is known as carrying capacity. So sigmoid growth curve. Now we discuss life history variations. Life history variations. All organisms try to maximize their reproductive ability. Means all organisms during their reproductive period produce more number of offspring. Darwin called or Darwinian fitness, or we may call it as Darwinian fitness. Every organism try to produce more number of offsprings. More number of offspring, but variations. Even though the organism produce more number of offspring, variation in the life history variation. For example, some organisms reproduce only once in their lifetime. Only once in their lifetime. Example, Pacific salmon fish. Pacific salmon fish and bamboo plants. They reproduce only one time. But birds and mammals, reproduce several times during their lifetime. That is a variation. Similarly, some animal produce large number of small size offsprings. Large number of small size offsprings. Example, oysters, pelagic fishes, oyster, pearl oyster, different types of oyster, mollusca, pelagic fishes means the fishes float in water, means a small size. So pelagic fishes release thousands of young ones. Oysters also thousands of young ones. So large number. They give birth to large number of offspring and at the same time their size is small. And another variation, birds and mammals. Birds and mammals reproduce and produce small number and large size offsprings. That is the variation. Okay. Competition is another interaction. In this interaction, both the partners are affected. That's why it is represented by symbol minus minus. So loss to both the partners, competition. Generally we considered competition between closely related species only. Truly competition occur between unrelated species also. Now we discuss competition between unrelated species. Competition between unrelated species. Unrelated species. Competition between fishes and flamingos in shallow American lakes. Shallow American lakes. Competition between fishes and flamingos of shallow American lakes. Flamingos visit shallow means not more deep. Shallow American lakes. Flamingos visit the shallow American lakes for 3 months only during winter. The remaining season, fishes only feed on zooplankton. What are zooplankton? Microscopic animal feed on phytoplankton known as zooplankton. So the fishes feed on zooplankton. The fishes feed on zooplankton present near the shore. Immediately they take rest on the shore. The flamingos, 3 months only they visit the shallow American lakes. They also try to feed on zooplankton available at the shore. Reason is, so to collect or to feed on zooplankton in open water, they have to fly some more distance. What is open water? The water neither contact with the shore nor bottom, known as open water zone. That's why both fishes and flamingos feed on zooplanktons present near the shore. So during winter, the fishes unable to obtain sufficient number of zooplankton. Truly, zooplanktons are abundant. Abundant zooplanktons present in open water. Neither fishes nor flamingos reach the open water. That's why, so generally we think competition means if resources are limited, then only competition. But here resources are more. Zooplanktons are more, but the fishes unable to obtain sufficient number of zooplanktons during winter. It is also example for interference competition. The flamingos interfere with the food of fish. Throughout the year, the flamingos not feed on zooplankton. Only 3 months they visit the shallow American lakes. So it is known as interference competition. One more point, the ability of one species decided in the presence of another species. So throughout the year except winter, the fishes easily obtain zooplankton. In winter, the fishes fail to obtain zooplankton in presence of flamingos. So in presence of flamingos, fishes are inferior only. Inferior. So the fitness of one species decided in the presence of another species. So this is about competition between unrelated species. So competition present not only closely related, competition also present between unrelated species. Next one is competitive exclusion. Competition exclusion. If resources are limited for a particular species, okay, resources are limited. What is competitive exclusion? Resources are limited. Members of superior species eliminate the members of inferior species. It is known as competitive exclusion. First time Gase explained. Gase, name of the scientist. Gase explained competitive exclusion. Gase and et al. Means and his co-workers introduce goat in Galapagos Islands. Galapagos Island. At the time, Abingdon tortoise were living in Galapagos Island. So both are browsers. Both are browser. What is browser? Feed on tender leaves. So Gase introduced goat in Galapagos Island. After 10 years of introduction of goat, Abingdon tortoise extinct from the Galapagos Island. Reason is goat is better browser than Abingdon tortoise. So what happens slowly after 10 years, only grasses or plants contain hard leaves only. The Abingdon tortoise is unable to feed on hard leaves. So both feed on tender leaves only, soft leaves. So it is example for competitive exclusion. What is competitive exclusion? If the resources are limited, members of superior species eliminate the members of inferior species is known as competitive exclusion. Gase and his co-workers introduced goat in Galapagos Island. After 10 years of introduction of goat, Abingdon tortoise extinct from the Galapagos Island. Next one is competition release. Competition release. Cornell field experiment. Cornell's field experiment. Cornell conducted field experiment in the intertidal region of Scotland. In the intertidal region of Scotland. 2 barnacles, Belanus and Catamalus. present in the coastal area of Scotland. Balanus is superior when compared to Catamalus. So in the intertidal region, most of them are balani. Balani catamalus are the barnacles. What is barnacle? Barnacle means submerged animal and attaches to the objects present in the water. Balanus is a rock barnacle, means it attaches to the rock. Balanus is superior. So in presence of Balanus, Catamalus unable to feed on food. So that's why in that area more Balanus, only corners of the intercostal area few Catamali are present. So in this experiment they remove all Balani from that area. Within few days entire intertidal area filled with Catamalus. Filled with Catamalus. So it indicates competition between Balanus and Catamalus. In presence of Balanus, only in this diagram 4 Catamali and the remaining Balani. So once they remove all Balani, entire area within few days occupied with Catamalus. It is known as competitive release. In an area, if we remove members of superior species, drastically members of inferior species increases, it is known as competitive release. Competitive release also explain competition between Balanus and Catamalus. What is competitive release? If we remove the superior members of superior species in an area, the number of inferior species increases drastically. It is known as competitive release. Competitive release also explain competition. Next one is resource partition. Resource partition. MacArthur studied resource partition. Resource partition. So, if resources are sufficient, the competitive species live together. How? By resource partition or change the foraging activity. They live together. Foraging means searching of food. For example, in that forest area, fox, hyena, a bear. So these three live in the same area. To avoid competition, the fox may go for searching of food material 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. The hyena go for searching of food material 1 a.m. to 3 p.m. The bear go for searching of food material 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. It may go for searching of food material 3:30 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. and avoid competition. That is, change the foraging activity. So, if resources are sufficient, the members of competitive species avoid competition, live together. How? Either by changing the foraging activity or resource partition. Foraging activity means searching for food. So fox go for searching of food material 9 p.m. to 10:30. Hyena go for searching of food material 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Bear go for searching of food material 3:30 a.m. to 4:30. Next one, resource partition. MacArthur studied resource partition in 5 warbler species. What are warblers? Singing birds. All 5 warbler species live on the same tree, but they distribute the resources, partition the resources. How? Hypothetically, one warbler species may feed on small fruit, another may be medium sized fruit, another may be large sized fruit, another may be fallen fruit, another may be unripe fruit. In this manner, they distribute the resource and avoid competition, live together. If resources are sufficient, the competitive species avoid competition by 2 ways. Maybe either resource partition or change the foraging activity. Change what is foraging activity? Go for searching of food material, foraging activity, or they distribute the available food, resource partition. Resource partition was studied by MacArthur in 5 warbler species. All the 5 warbler species live on the same tree, warblers. So singing birds, warbler. One warbler species feed on small fruit, another medium size, one large size, one may be feed on fallen fruits, one may be feed on unripe fruit. So in this manner, they distribute the available food and avoid competition. That is known as resource partition. Tomorrow we discuss predation.